you? Our first guest today is Miss. I will let you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Diabion Washington.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. You mind if I call you Baby Groceries?
Okay.
That's what we'll call you today. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for being a part of the podcast. I appreciate it, and I know you're busy today, so we're gonna get right into it. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, how old are you? How old are you?
21.
21. Like you got that killer dog in the background. Now the reason why I asked you your age is because the first segment is for your age, and when we do it later on, we're gonna have your mother and the lady a little older than her. So there's some things that they went through that you haven't probably experienced yet. So that's why I
Right.
wanted to get the age group correct or straight. So I wanted to know, at what age did you realize that your father wasn't in your life?
That I physically realized, physically or like mentally.
Both.
I could say I had to be like around 12, 13.
12. Now, did it bother you when your friends would be around their fathers and you wasn't around yours? Did that make you question or feel a certain way?
I wouldn't say like I felt a certain way, but like, like certain things like I'll see that I wish that I had that I didn't have. So like, like sometimes it is like a little touchy, but I like somehow just like overcome it so it don't really bother me as much.
As much. So is that an indication that at one time it bothered you a lot?
Yeah.
And how did you respond? Did you cry or did you ask your mother questions or?
I didn't really cry. Okay, I didn't really cry. It was one point that I did cry, but it was like rarely, and then it started to fade away. So I didn't really cry. Like I was just like I had like a lot of thoughts.
So did
And
you cry? I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, continue.
So when you say you cried, did you cry over a period of time or you just cried like once or twice and that was it?
Like it was once or twice.
Okay. And is that at the same age, about 12, that you were crying when you figured out your father was alive?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. That's interesting. Can we get a little more light? Because you look a little dark right now. Could you?
A little more light.
Yeah.
Or the way she was before, is just she got a little dark.
Okay, is that better?
Okay, yeah, that's better. That's better. That's Baby Groceries for real, Jack. Now what I wanted to, and so you're 21, right?
Yes.
You're legal. I mean, by nature, you probably get interested in boys and men at this point. So when you started liking boys, did you start looking for love that maybe your father didn't give you? Were you looking for that in a man or a boyfriend?
I wouldn't really say the word love. I would say more towards like being like have somebody that can accept me like how my father didn't accept me. But I wouldn't really say love because I never knew I don't know what love really is. So I don't like to use the word love. I never use the word love. I would say most are like acceptings or loyalty towards or whatever. But I wouldn't use the word love because I never physically witnessed it. So I don't really understand it or I don't know how it feels.
That's a very conscious answer. That's a mature answer. I could tell that was from the heart. So when you say accepting the way your father didn't, can you give an example? Like, what do you mean by that?
What I mean by acceptance is because out of all of my siblings, me and my brother, we share the same father, same mother. everybody has different fathers besides me and my brother. Me and my fourth sibling. So from what I physically witnessed, from when sometimes like over the weekends, that when we used to go stay the night over by my father's family, they would have, they'll physically show like he's a part of us and you aren't because you're opposite. So I felt like because I didn't really fit in, I wasn't accepted towards his family.
Mm. And do you how has that affected you, if at all?
I would say it made me learn as I got older because I'm still young, I'm still learning different things. It made me, it's, well, basically, what I could say from him, he taught me from a different point of view on how to, you don't have to push yourself into somebody liking you because how you are or your personality or how you carry yourself. So you don't have to always force somebody to like you or accept you because you're different or you're not in their crowd. So that taught me how to just be you and be your own person and keep your, like how I always carried myself, keep that towards when you get older.
And you said he,
My
who's
father.
your father, your natural, your,
Yeah, my birth father. Yeah.
okay. So or you did have some type of relationship with him at one time?
I would say yes and no. What I mean by yes and no, I felt like the relationship that I could say that he did, that what I did had with him was for show for other people.
Oh, to
So
act
for
like,
example, like, because like how I said, it's just me and my brother, we share the same father, same mother. So
mhm.
if it's a lot of people, like a family party or a get together or a gathering, that's when he noticed me. But when it's just like us just together, I'm just like invisible. Like like he see right through me. It's just my brother and not me.
So how does that make you feel?
I would say it did hurt a lot, because I always used to cry to my mother or I'll tell my mom about it or whatever. But it doesn't hurt me as much now because I feel like I got older and I felt like I understood more things and I felt that I shouldn't keep on trying to force myself into I shouldn't keep forcing myself into something that doesn't need to be forced into.
You sound like a very intelligent young lady and you're very well spoken. But but how has it affected you? I know that's how it makes you feel, but how has it affected you? If you can be specific.
I could say how it affects me now, like like today, present. I could say that how it affects me, how like my everyday life, I learned more to like love myself, appreciate myself. And it's not like I don't have hatred or whatever towards anybody or whatever it is. I just feel like that it just builds me up more and it
You mean
makes me
confident wise? What do you mean by
yeah,
build?
like confidence more, yeah, make me love myself, build myself up, even make myself more stronger.
Mm. So so you're saying, or did you say that your father pays attention to your brother but not you?
Yeah, basically.
So how does that make you feel, not as a whole, but do you ever feel jealous?
At one point I did have jealousy. I had a lot of jealousy towards my brother. So like certain things that I would try to do is like, okay, because my brother did this, maybe I should do it. But then when they still were just telling me like, oh, you're still trying to act like your brother, you nothing like your brother. So I like it did hurt it did make me have a lot of jealousy towards my brother. At one point, I was very evil towards my brother, but it just slowly like faded. Like the connection faded away towards my father and his family.
And his family treated your brother better as well.
Yes.
Oh, that had to be a lonely feeling, I assume. Did you feel lonely at times?
At one point it did, but because of my grandfather, which is my father's father, I felt like he was more of a father figure than my birth father because he was the only one that acknowledged.
Well, that's good. That's good. So do you think your father not being in your life, do you think that might have stunted your growth as
A
far as,
lot.
because
Yeah.
a man always wants to teach his daughter um how to be, not wants to teach his daughter how to know how to choose a man or a boyfriend. Like if he doesn't treat you this way, then he's not the one for you. Or if he speaks to you a certain way, leave him alone. So
Yeah.
do you miss that you feel that you miss some type of training or knowledge courses,
I
for lack of a better
felt like
term?
I felt like I have, and then again haven't because, like how I said, my grandfather, he was more so of a father figure, and I still didn't know. Still to this day, I don't know what a father figure is or how to connect to like having that father daughter relationship. But I could say like my grandfather, he did try to help acknowledge me, and he did have like a boyfriend girlfriend talk with me when I was younger. So I felt like he was more like he saw that I was an outcast towards them, but but my grandfather was like he stepped in and he was accepting me for who I was
Hmm.
and treated me like if that was like my actual birth father than a grandfather.
You mean your actual father than the grandfather? That's what you
Yeah,
meant?
yeah,
Oh, okay. That really makes a lot of sense. So do you have a boyfriend now?
yeah.
Do you look for certain qualities? Because I know I asked you something like that earlier, but it's not exactly the same thing. Do you look for certain qualities in your boyfriend, or what will make you like your a young man, and what will make you not like a young man?
I'll say especially qualities because how I was then with my father towards my father, it made me more sheltered. So
Meaning to yourself?
yes. So certain things, like specifically, if I don't physically see this, I feel like it's a problem or it's an issue because of, like how I said, I don't know what love is or how to like physically like somebody or whatever. So in my head, like how I felt and how I see myself sheltered, I want to physically see like specifics.
Like what? Tell me, be specific. Tell us. Like for instance,
Like, for example, like how I said, like loyalty wise, I want to physically see or like have more time because I felt like that's something that I did miss towards my father that but I have in a physical relationship now is spending time and quality.
okay.
So I feel like that specifically is like my major one.
So that's one result of not having a father in your life, the way you think, and the example you just gave
Yes.
of what you need to see. You need to see that loyalty.
Yes.
Now, what would you call, in your opinion, what would you call loyalty? Like, what would you have to see to say, okay, this young man is loyal at this point? Because you're only 21, so as you get older, all of that is going to
Different.
change.
Yeah.
So we're speaking for now.
I would say for now terms, um, I'm not too sure.
Well, that's
Cause
fine. Because
I
you're
don't
only
know.
20.
Yeah.
So that's okay. So let me try to make it a little easier on you.
Mhm.
Um, I want to revisit this. You not having a father in your life, and I would assume he didn't go to parent teacher meetings and things like that at birthday parties or kindergarten graduations.
No.
So how can I put it? What have you learned from that, if anything, and how did you go on? Well, I'll let you answer the first question. Have you learned anything from that?
I learned a lot. Because I would say he have gone to previous birthday parties, but he'll come and like he'll just show his face and then he'll leave.
Okay.
So I have learned quite a lot. As for example, like I learned that, like I said, I can't force myself into connecting with somebody that doesn't want a connection with me.
Do you have some type of empty feeling in you? Or so, like, do
Yeah,
you always feel like there's something missing?
yeah. I feel
All
like I feel like it has been like, like something big. I don't know specifically, but I just feel like more so like loneliness maybe. So that's when I was like quality time, something that I didn't have with my father. It could be like, just something simple, sit down, talk, something not too major, but I feel like maybe like just spending some type of time is something that, that bothers me here and there.
So that little bit would mean a lot if he would just call you or come see you and ask you how was your day or
Yeah,
what's on your mind. That would mean the world to you,
yes.
basically. And that's very interesting. So if your father was watching, what would you have to say? What would you want to tell him? Hold on. We're gonna hold that right there. We're gonna
Okay.
hold that tight. What I want to know is, because like I said, later on in the segment, we're going to have some older women. So you're 21, but I'm sure there's some girls younger than you going through the same thing. So you can give advice as well. So what advice would you give for some young ladies, young girls that's going through the same thing you're going through with that the father just refuses to be in their life? What advice would you give?
The advice that I would give, the advice that I would give is you have to focus more on you and how you move on as a person or as an individual. Like you have to the advice I would give is move on, focus on you, and it's okay to feel emotional or you feel empty, or if you want to keep trying to build a connection with, like with your father, if you don't have that, or if you're still struggling with certain feelings, because it's still to this day I still have trouble like expressing myself, but it's okay. But I would say just focus on you and how you carry yourself and worry about your feelings and your emotions than just trying to make someone else happy.
Okay, now for you to do that, that was a process, correct? I mean, it took years, or it was easy for you? Was it hard for
It,
you?
it did take years. It did, until I was until I reached middle school is when I realized that certain things you can't keep holding,
Hmm.
and certain feelings you can't hold, or you can't build something that doesn't want to be built.
And you had to come to that realization.
Yes.
That's very, very well spoken. So when you say that when you say that you have to live for yourself and not trying to please other people, was there a time where you were living, where you were doing things trying to please your father,
Yes.
hoping and thinking that he would come in your life because of the things you're
Uh,
doing?
a lot of times.
Oh, see, that's interesting. I never thought of that point of view. I'm glad you brought that up. Do you still find, even though you more or less overcome it mentally, do you still
Mhm.
find yourself doing that sometimes?
Yes,
Has it become a habit?
it has.
Hmm. Wow. So even though you realize it's not gonna work, it's still a habit. So there's like maybe I don't even not confusion, but I guess hope. I guess hope is the better word. You still have hope.
I have, and then again, I don't have, but
You got darker for some reason. Okay, that's a little better. Yes.
but I have, and I don't have hope. It's still like indecisive
Hmm.
because
That's
I
perfect.
I just feel like that maybe I try too hard and then forget about how I feel because I worry so much about how other people feel.
And who's the other people?
Just like when it comes to work or family in general.
Oh, just in general.
Yes.
Oh, so you consider other people's feelings, huh?
Before I consider mine. So it could be times that somebody could be unhappy. I would forget my happiness or my well being and focus on that person to try to make that person happy sometimes or make sure that person is okay. And I can't be, and I could be in a depression state, but I'll have to make sure that that person is okay and that person is happy and then forget about how I feel or how to make myself
That's deep. You sound like a very mature young lady. You sure you ain't pushing 40?
happy. No,
You sure you 21?
positive.
Now, I'm not gonna keep you much longer because I know you got someplace to be, and you went out your way to do this. So I appreciate that.
No
So
problem.
you mentioned the word depressed.
Yes.
Now that's a very specific word. So has your father not being in your life ever made you depressed? Because not feeling well or not liking something, that's a whole different world than depressed.
Yes, I feel like that have so like certain like situations I could be unhappy about. I'll just rethink about sometimes like me and my father's relationship and that makes me depressed.
Oh, and still,
Yes.
so that's so as you're learning, you're growing, and vice versa. As you're growing, you're learning.
Yes.
Do you get as depressed as always, or is it lesser and
It
lesser?
has a lesson because I don't really have that connection anymore and I gave up on trying to build a relationship
Hmm.
with my father that it lessened the depression, but it's still, it still takes a toll here and there. But it doesn't feel as bad as it did before.
So
Previous.
you're learning how to deal with it. You're learning how to live
Yeah.
with
Yes.
it.
Like I
That
find different ways how to distract myself or just to express myself because sometimes physically I don't know how to explain or express myself because I always kept myself sheltered.
mhm.
That I'll try to do different things. Like I'll try to like work most of the days out of the week or paint or something, trying something new that I haven't tried before, and to just distract myself out of me being depressed or trying to just get my mind off of it sometimes.
Oh wow. Now see that's deep. So you do things. So I'm trying to summarize. So your father not being in your life, it I'm not going to say trauma. I'm going to say trauma. It probably could be a better term, but I'm just going to say trauma because I think trauma you can get hit in the head. I think that's trauma, but you know what I mean. Maybe there's some different. I think there's a different meaning also.
Hmm.
So it has affected you to the point where, and this is the point I wanted to get to. Like how it really affects you to the point where sometimes you have to distract yourself. Sometimes you have to stay so busy. You have to try new things just not to be depressed or feel bad thinking about your father not being in your life. So,
Basically, like if I paint or if I draw, that's like my relief. That's me expressing myself. That's me trying to let that depression or that anger go. Because I could say I feel like I do have anger problems, but I feel like the way how I express myself without verbally expressing myself or physically expressing myself is by if I draw, paint, or work. Just the distraction is is just to show my feelings or my emotions because I don't like to really show my feelings.
and that's very mature of you because I mean I know women twice your age that don't know how to deal with their emotions. They'll curse you out, me out, my mammy, their own mammy. They don't know how to deal with their emotions.
Right.
So that's very you ahead of the game. That's smart because you have to be able to deal with your emotions
Yes.
in a healthy way. So what do you draw? What do you paint? Like to to get your mind off it, or what have you painted or drawn?
I feel like I don't, what I did notice about myself, I don't notice what I'm doing until I'm finished. Like until I put like if I'm drawing something, I don't notice what I'm drawing until I put the pen down or the pencil down and then put the paper down.
Okay.
Or if I paint, I have no idea what I'm painting. I just know like how I feel is my feelings that I feel like takes over. It's like a blackout state. I wouldn't know what I'm doing until after I'm finished.
Mm. So it's like you're drawing your feelings. It's not in your mind, it's in your soul. You're drawing what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's a creation of the heart. That's deep. So if your father was watching, or if he does watch, who knows? What would you say to him?
I know what I said.
You think about it. You don't have to, you know,
Um,
answer right away.
that's a good question. Um,
I want you pour your heart out. What would you say to your father? Positive,
I
negative?
wouldn't say I wouldn't really say negative because I witnessed a lot of negative things. I would say it's a positive factor. I would say I appreciate him for showing me different ways how to grow by his from his actions. I appreciate him showing me how to love myself without having him love me.
Mm,
And he taught me a lot of things, how to teach myself, how to love myself, how to build myself, how to appreciate who I am, how to carry myself mentally and how to control myself because I don't hate him. I don't have hatred towards him. I just feel like trying to build a relationship or a connection, I wouldn't want that.
you wouldn't want that?
No. I
So you
like I wouldn't say like forever, but I just feel like because I know like maybe when I get older, I probably say I want to build a connection today or tomorrow or in 5 years, 12 years, or whatever. I would say how like physically now, I don't think I'm ready to handle that type of relationship with him because it's been so long, and I feel like I don't know how to explain it.
take your time.
I feel like I don't know. I'm not too sure. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. Well, if you can't put it in words, I think you've explained it already, unless you have a different thought. But I think you pretty much summarized it. If there's anything you could ask him if he's watching or will watch, what would you ask?
Um,
Because it has to be something deep down. I mean, that you never reveal. I mean, that's an assumption, not an assumption. That's a off the wall comment, I should say. But is there something deep down that you never said or asked or brought to his attention, or something that your mother doesn't even know that crosses your mind?
I would ask him just a curious question that why was I never accepted in his world, but my brother was more accepted?
Mm. Have you asked him that before?
No.
Oh, so this is a first on the Toxic Magazine Everything Old School podcast. So this is a first. Oh, okay. So before I let you go, this is what I want to know. We want to know, why haven't you asked him? Can we get a little more light? There you go. Lights, camera, action. Go ahead, baby groceries.
I feel
Why haven't you asked him?
I haven't asked him because I felt like I didn't know how to ask him or how to explain myself to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was trying to me just trying to find different ways how to show him that I'm here or him to notice me, and it was just like, I don't notice you, you're invisible. It doesn't show towards him. I feel like that I just didn't know how to explain myself without just being straightforward because I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to find ways for him to see me.
And can you give an example of how you're trying to find ways for him to see you? Like, would you dress a certain way or be
I
a student or?
I think it was probably when I first was trying to cook or when I stayed the night at his house, when I was trying to cook something for him just to show like I love you, I appreciate you, like hi. I cooked for him. Well, I tried to cook for him. I gave him the food and he didn't eat it. He just ignored it, was talking on his phone, and he just left out the house.
Oh, that must have crushed you.
It
That
did.
must have
But
crushed you.
I was thinking too, like, did I do something wrong? Or it just put me back on the drawing board to figure another way or a different way.
So have you come to the conclusion, or has it ever crossed your mind that it doesn't really have nothing to do with you?
Yes and no. I feel like it did have something to do with me at one point, and then again, I realized maybe he just has his own demons, or he doesn't know how to appreciate himself, or it's just probably too much going on within him that he doesn't have time towards me. So I just feel like maybe it's he probably has his own issues that he's fighting, or his own demons that he's fighting.
That's a very mature. You sure you ain't 39? You sure?
Yes.
Somebody ain't telling me something. Okay. So is there anything that I didn't ask that you would like to share or tell people, or a young lady or young girl that might be going through what you're going through? Is there anything you want to share?
Um, just
Advice, anything.
just accept who you are and accept yourself, and don't please anybody else besides yourself. Worry about your feelings, about you, other than focusing on other people.
And that's very sound advice. Now, I mean, obviously it's your choice. Um, what if there's a young lady, a young woman that might need someone to talk to? Would you mind them reaching out to you by email or something? Or you don't want to give your info out?
Um,
That's totally up to you,
I don't know.
honestly. Huh?
I don't know.
Okay, that's a no then. I don't know the no's. Okay. Well, baby groceries. But tell the people your name again.
Diavion.
I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for, I know you got things to do. Thank you for expressing yourself. And are you sure there's nothing else you want to say?
I'm positive.
All right. Thank you. It was nice to see you.